This My Access Administration training presentation is brought to you by the Office of Educational Assessment and Accountability, OEAA, and its Test Administration and Reporting Division. This presentation will provide timely information regarding end-to-end testing activities for the My Access Functional Independence (FI) assessments. The topics covered for this presentation include what's new for My Access this year, My Access assessment information, accommodations and support, before testing, preparing for administration, during testing, administration, FI, after testing, post-administration activities, and contact information. Here's what is new for 2025 My Access assessments. We have a new vendor for paper/pencil testing. Data Recognition Corporation, DRC, will now be our vendor for both the online and paper/pencil assessments. DRC will be providing test materials, processing all returns from schools, conducting all scanning, scoring, and reporting activities. We have reduced the number of online test tickets. FI online test logins will require only one test ticket instead of two per content area. Tests will still have two parts to encourage more frequent breaks, however, login credentials will be identical for both Part 1 and 2. Unlock requests. Testing staff can call the DRC help desk to unlock tests during testing if the student has unanswered items on the test, the test has not previously been unlocked. For any other scenario, an incident report is required. All word-processed responses for students must be transcribed into the FI Expressing Ideas student answer document by a test administrator. Word-processed documents will not be processed and consequently will not be scored. Note, for students to achieve a valid overall ELA scale score, the Expressing Ideas must be received as well as the accessing print and using language assessment. All online testing environments will feature the Enhanced Student Experience (ESE) interface, which provides a new clean, streamlined look for students and complies with ADA guidelines. ESE is new this year, and students must spend some time with the OTTS to feel comfortable with ESE on test day. The Bluetooth headphone guidance has been clarified. Headphones are required for all students testing online. Headphones allowed for use during testing are 1. Wired or wireless headphones are allowed. 2. Bluetooth headphones, including AirPods, are allowed if A. They are only connected to the student's testing device. B. All non-testing student devices, including cell phones, smartwatches, tablets, etc., must be powered off for any student using a Bluetooth headphone during testing. 3. Headphones with advanced technology, including voice command, texting, app connection, and connection to the internet are not allowed. Updates to My Access paper/pencil test administration. Student pre-ID barcode labels are unique for each answer document. Pre-ID labels are content area specific and must be affixed to the corresponding answer document. Pre-ID labels are now printed on label sheets that consist of 10 labels rather than 20. Blank student labels are by DRC for local printing. Additional blank labels may be ordered in the OEAA secure site. Note, Avery-style labels are not compatible. Accommodated material kits are packaged in shrink wrap instead of zipper bags. There have been several updates to materials return this year. Changes to materials return 1. No return packets. All return materials will be in clear bag with sticker indicating return materials enclosed. These will be included in the administrative box of materials. 2. UPS return shipment labels. The new vendor for returns is the United Postal Service, UPS. There must be a UPSRS label affixed to each return box. 3. Do not score labels. Each paper/pencil shipment will include do not score labels affixed to any answer document that should not be scored. 4. No special handling envelopes. The special handling envelopes have been discontinued. Simply pack materials in return boxes and affix the UPSRS labels. 5. Clear bags provided. All answer documents must be placed in the clear plastic bags and zip-tied before placement in the return box. Be sure follow the instructions provided in the Test Administration Manual for the complete details for preparing materials for return. This next section covers the My Access assessment information and provides an overview of the My Access Alternate Assessment Program. My Access is designed for students with the most significant cognitive disabilities who have a disability or multiple disabilities that significantly impair cognitive and adaptive functioning, have extensive support needs, and have a majority of instruction and goals are based on Michigan's alternate content expectations. MyAccess is designed only for students with IEP goals that are aligned to the alternate achievement expectations in lieu of the general grade level standards. Students that meet the inclusion criteria and receive alternate instruction as part of a daily routine. MyAccess has 3 levels of participation to match this instruction: high, medium, and low. MyAccess is not intended for students with mild impairments or solely with high incidence of types of disabilities, for example, learning disability speech impairment. MyAccess is not intended for students solely with a behavioral or sensory perceptual type of impairment, for example, emotional impairment or hearing impairment. MyAccess is not a default assessment for all students with moderate to high or specialized support needs, for example, not only and not all students with autism. MyAccess is not a default assessment to allow for better student outcomes. MyAccess is designed for students with the most significant cognitive disabilities, and whose IEP team has determined that the general assessment is not appropriate for them, even with accommodations. The assessments are designed for students with the most significant cognitive disabilities, about 1% of students. Such students have significant impairment to cognitive functioning, significant impairment to adaptive functioning, need extensive supports to generalize learning or show growth, and receive most of their instruction based on alternate grade level standards. There are 3 levels of assessments within the program for students working toward alternate content expectations. They are functional independence, supported independence, and participation. Participation in MyAccess FI assessments is an IEP decision and what level is the most appropriate for the student. Functional independence, FI, is for students whose instructional approach aligns with the high range of complexity of the alternate content expectations and who require some basic supports to function independently but cannot work toward general content standards. Supported independence, SI, is for students whose instructional approach aligns with the medium range of complexity and who need ongoing supports for many major life roles. Participation, P, is for students whose instructional approach aligns with the low range of complexity of the alternate content expectations and who will require extensive, ongoing support for much of their life. For this presentation, we will focus on the functional independence tests. Guidelines to help IEP teams come to a final decision whether a student should participate in MyAccess are found on the webpage at Michigan. Go/MyAccess in the General Information section. By following this link and QR code will take you to the MyAccess webpage where you will find a link to the guidelines under the General Information section. This document can help identify the appropriate assessment for a student. Additional resources to assist IEP teams determine participation are found on the webpage at michigan.gov/my-access in the Assessment Training and Resources for Educators section. These include Assessment Selection Guidelines Training and the Interactive Decision-Making Tool, which allows an IEP team to walk through the decision-making process together in real time. The MyAccess webpage also provides a couple training opportunities under the Assessment Training and Resources for Educators section. The first one is the Assessment Selection Guidelines Training, which is a more robust resource to train staff in recognizing what level of the assessment is most appropriate for the student. The second tool is the Assessment Selection Guidance, which is an interactive decision-making tool that will walk you through a sequence of yes and no questions and answers to arrive at the most appropriate assessment for the student. Both are excellent resources for IEP teams to make the most appropriate decision for the student. MyAccess is developed based on Michigan's alternate content expectations. These will assist educators in understanding the links between the general assessment standards and the alternate expectations. They also provide the Michigan range of complexity, which outlines how the skills associated with each expectation is to be assessed using the 3 levels of MyAccess. The expectations can be found on the MyAccess webpage under the General Information section. Students will take the MyAccess FI assessments in the following grades and content areas. ELA, which includes accessing print and using language, as well as expressing ideas tests, are administered in grades 3 to 8 and grade 11. Math tests are also administered in grades 3 to 8 and grade 11. Science and social studies are administered in grades 5, 8, and 11. Note, social studies tests are only available for FI. See TAM for details. Some have asked over the years if students can be assessed in more than one type of the My-Access assessment, and the answer is yes. Students may be assessed using multiple levels of the tests. For example, My-Access FI flexibility will allow for the following. Test types must be adjacent, for example, FI and SI. The FI and SI assessments can be combined, for example, FI Math and SIELA. Note, FI Social Studies may also be used with SI tests, but not with participation level tests. Non-adjacent types are not permitted, for example, FI and P. M-STEP may also be split with My-Access FI only. PSAT and grade May 8th be combined with FI only. Note, ELA and mathematics must be administered as a unit. SAT may be combined with grade 11 FI only. Note, ELA and mathematics must be administered as a unit. All decisions of assessment use must be documented in the IEP. Can students take any type of My-Access assessment? No, there are some limits. My-Access flexibility is limited to only adjacent levels of testing. This chart shows the limits between valid and invalid testing scenarios. The left green column outlines the valid testing scenarios, based on adjacent levels of testing. The right orange column outlines the invalid testing scenarios, based on non-adjacent levels of testing. Note, ELA and mathematics must be administered as a unit and cannot be split between. The functional independence is administered in two modes, paper/pencil and online. The test directions for the paper/pencil are in the test administration manual. The test directions for the online testing are embedded in the online test. And the paper/pencil students mark responses in the booklet except for expressing ideas. For online testing, students interact directly with the online test and select the answer. For paper/pencil testing, the test administrator may read the test to student per the read aloud instructions inside the front cover. For online testing, the text-to-speech feature will begin upon login and headphones are required. The paper/pencil booklet may be used for scratch paper. For online testing, scratch paper is optional but must be collected and destroyed after testing if used for paper/pencil testing. Calculators may be used if they are part of the student's routine class instruction. Online calculators are available for online for some math questions. For the paper/pencil testing, administrators transferred the responses from the student from the booklet to the student answer document. For online testing, administrator reviews the summary screen before submitting the online test for the student. There is one very important functional independence reminder for ELA. The Expressing Ideas assessment is a paper version for all students taking ELA regardless of the mode of testing. Students must respond to both prompts. Students may answer with writing, drawing, or any combination of both. Universal tools, designated support, and accommodations are available. Expressing Ideas must be returned to the scoring contractor to receive a valid score. Note, word-processed responses must be transcribed onto the Expressing Ideas answer document. Any loose papers will not be scored or processed. A scale score. The FI assessment has both paper/pencil as well as online features as noted in this flowchart. Assessments may be completed in paper/pencil, left column of chart, or online, right column, per the IEP instructions. The student marks the paper/pencil test booklet with their responses and the administrator transfers those responses to the answer document for the student. Online students will interact directly with the test in the online test engine. Since the ELA, Expressing Ideas must be completed with paper for all ELA students, it is important to remember to not only administer, but to return, the Expressing Ideas test for scoring is noted by the red arrow in the flowchart. The Expressing Ideas test is required to receive an overall valid ELA score. The district coordinator provides overall assessment support and responsibility to ensure all students are pre-identified and moved from M-STEP to My-Access in the secure site as early as possible. Ensure any students removed from M-STEP are also removed from those test sessions in the Insight portal and any printed M-STEP tickets are destroyed. Order test materials as needed. Ensure the OEAA security compliance forms are completed by all staff. Ensure procedures for material handling security are developed and followed, including a chain of custody for all materials. Complete the MDE assessment security modules through Michigan Virtual at the link shown. Read the Assessment Integrity Guide found on the web page. Ensure all staff have access and receive test administration training. The district coordinator also assists schools in receiving and returning all test materials as needed. They manage the answer document and test verification process. This is the last chance to make sure all answer documents have been processed and document why students may not have been tested. They ensure any testing irregularities are reported by submitting an incident report in the secure site. Review and distribute final reports, which will be released in late summer through the secure site. The Assessment Coordinator Training Guide is a helpful resource for coordinators and is located on the web page or by using the QR code. The role of the building or the school coordinator for My Access includes the following: manage all aspects of the assessment in collaboration with the district coordinator. Coordinate staff training for administration and test security at their school. Ensure the students have accessed the practice test with the online tools training system found on the My Access webpage. Assist with receiving and returning of test materials as needed. Ensure proper implementation of material security procedures at the school level and properly disseminate and collect test materials from test administrators. The training for the building coordinator must be for Assessment Security online course through Michigan Virtual at the link shown here and also on the webpage. Read the Assessment Integrity Guide also found on the My Access webpage. The Assessment Coordinator training is located at the top of the webpage and the QR code will also take you to the guide. The role of the Assessment Administrator for functional independence includes the following. The FI tests are designed to be administered one-on-one or in small groups, 5 or fewer. Here are a few things to remember. Test administrator must be a certified professional staff member such as a teacher, school psychologist, related service provider or teacher consultant, and will assist the student getting started with the booklet or login for the online testers. Test materials must always be securely locked when not being used for test preparation or administration. Monitor student progress and assist to help minimize any distractions for the student or fellow students. Test administrators should also transfer student responses from the test booklet to the answer document, paper/pencil, after administering test. Administrators should also assist the student with the student-facing technology as needed. Submit online test when the student is finished. Return all testing materials to the coordinator after testing. Administrators must work with the coordinator to complete test administration and test security. The next section is designed to provide enough resources to answer most of your questions and provide opportunities for training of other staff members. The Michigan Department of Education has developed a guide to all our state assessments, and it can be located on the My Access webpage. The Test Administration Manual, TAM, provides general information about the assessment, an overview of what to expect, supports and accommodations, roles and responsibilities, activities before, during, and after testing, materials return section, and finally an appendix section with a variety of helpful materials. The My Access webpage provides several links to the following: the alternate content expectations, which are found in the webpage header. Guidelines for participation, also found in the webpage header. The OEAA Secure Site Login page. Also the Assessment Coordinator Training Guide. Our Spotlight Weekly publication. My School Data link. And the contact information for OEAA. The My Access webpage also provides links in the Current Assessment Administration section, which includes the Test Administration Manual, Assessment Flowcharts, the Guide to State Assessments, the link to the DRC Insight Portal, Assessment Integrity Guide, and the Electronic Device Policy. The My Access webpage also provides a link to the Assessment Calendars webpage, where you will find lists of important dates in PDF format, lists of assessment program dates in the Excel format. Google Calendar option is also available for those who want to be informed through their calendar what activities are approaching with regards to state assessments. This includes Google Help information and resources for task follow-up. The Spring Summative Assessment Calendar is available on the Calendar webpage. My Access has a 7-week administration window which begins April 7th and ends May 23rd. A copy of this document can be found on the MyAccess webpage. Important dates are provided in several formats including PDF, Excel, and Google Calendar. More information about the MyAccess Assessment Administration will be reviewed later in the presentation. The MyAccess webpage also includes a training section and resources for educators. They include the Administration Video Training, the Functional Independence Online Tools Training Information for Students Practice Testing, the OEAA Secure Site Training Documentation, and also the Assessment Security Training. Well, another resource for assessment coordinators is the Assessment Coordinator Training Guide found at this link and on the MyAccess webpage. This guide is a chapter-driven document that provides a brief, but important, outline of all aspects of training and assessment. The Assessment Coordinator Training Guide provides a before testing overview which includes Assessment Coordinator Training, Quick Reference Guide, Quick Start Guide. The assessment systems includes Introduction to Testing Technology, DRC Insight Portal Basics, Secure Site Training, Educational Entity Master (EM) resource, Michigan Student Data System (MSDS). The student supports and accommodations you will find. Student supports and accommodation overview. Selecting and assigning universal tools. Designated support. Accommodations. The test security chapter includes an overview of test security, appropriate practices for test security, and incident reporting. The Assessment Coordinator Training Guide is set up to also help you with activities before testing. When you are getting ready for testing, there are a variety of documents in the guide that will help you with training and resources. These include pre-identification of students, report codes and research codes, preparing yourself and staff as a building coordinator and as a district coordinator, preparing students and parents for testing, initial and additional material orders, MyAccess who takes an alternate assessment, and MyAccess assessment preparation. The Coordinator Guide also provides information for what to do during testing for MyAccess assessment administrations. There is also a third section on the after-testing activities which include post-administration tasks and reports such as materials return, accountable students enrolled and demographics, introduction to testing technology. A chapter is also provided focused on assessment data and reporting including preliminary reports, data files, final reporting. The primary goal of assessment security is to protect the integrity of the assessment and to ensure that the results are accurate and meaningful. The OEAA has developed an assessment security goal for the state of Michigan to provide secure assessments that result in valid and reliable scores, to adhere to high professional test administration and security standards, to maintain consistency across all testing occasions and sites, that is schools and students, to promote the investments of resources, time, and energy. The Assessment Integrity Guide provides important information including information on the prevention and detection of testing irregularities, guidance for follow-up and resolution of any identified testing irregularity, ensure all procedures before, during, and after the testing administration lead to student results that more accurately reflect a valid and reliable measure of students' unique and true educational knowledge, skills, and abilities. Updated information for spring and should be reviewed for the updated testing policies. It is also located on the MyAccess webpage. The security compliance forms are to be read and signed by all staff involved in state assessments. Staff agreements for confirming training and proper observance of security processes, to be kept on hand at the district for a minimum of 3 years. Is available on all state assessment web pages including MyAccess. The OEAA has developed an electronic device policy for testing, which is available in the Assessment Integrity Guide and the Test Administration Manual. This guide is designed to help district and building coordinators develop an internal policy regarding personal electronic devices during testing. The guide includes examples of electronic devices, policy for students, policy for test administrators/monitors and staff, It includes best practices or acceptable and prohibited practices for students and staff. All staff members who participate in the administration of a state assessment must be fully trained in assessment security each year. District/building assessment coordinators must complete the MDE Assessment Security online course through Michigan Virtual. After completion of the training course, a refresher course is available for subsequent years' training. Read the Assessment Integrity Guide. Test administrators, room supervisors, and proctors must read the Assessment Security for Test Administrators document, TAM Appendix C, page 91, and/or complete the MDE Assessment Security online course through Michigan Virtual. The Active Monitoring Best Practices document provides detailed descriptions of administration practices that are required. Then, best practices are described, practices that are acceptable, and finally prohibited practices are listed. The document is in the Test Administration Manual Appendix D, page 99. Off-site testing is for schools who cannot test on-site at their school buildings. Off-site testing also occurs for individual students. When a school is providing educational services to a homebound student, students are hospitalized during the testing window, or students are expelled with services. The test administrators must be familiar to the student to avoid any distractions and recognize the special needs of the student. The off-site test administration request is found under the Assessment Registration tab in the OEAA Secure site. Select Off-site Test Administration Request. The window to submit off-site test administration requests is open now through May 22, 2025. The test monitoring application is available through the DRC Insight portal, which allows users to actively monitor student-facing FI administration. It allows coordinators to track student progress on the online testing. Video is available at this link to provide training on how to use the application. Based on the feedback from last year, the Appendix D of the Test Administration Manual provides detailed information regarding the application. Training is also available in the DRC Library of Training Documents. Incidents or testing irregularities frequently occur during testing and must be submitted on the Incident Report page of the OEAA Secure site. There are several common types of incidents. Testing not completed. Duplicate testing of students. Tests submitted in error. Prohibited behavior or cheating. Accommodation or designated support was not given or given inappropriately. Technical problems with online testing. An incident report instruction sheet found on the Secure Site training page provides details for completing the report. The staff from the OEAA will respond to remedy the situation once the report is filed. The OEAA Secure Site is a web-based application used for managing state assessments and contains FERPA student information. The site is only available to authorized district and school staff members that require it as part of their role in state assessments. The primary functions of the Secure Site are pre-identification of students for all assessments, ordering paper and pencil tests including accommodated versions, incident reporting, accountable students enrolled in demographics review, answer documents received and not tested review and submission, access to student data files and score reports. You'll need access to the OEAA Secure site throughout testing. Log into MyLogin for Business to access OEAA Secure site. You will need to add the OEAA Secure site service to your home page. Use the Discover Online Services at the top right to add the OEAA Secure site if you do not already have access. You will be prompted to complete the Request Access page. For complete directions, go to michigan.gov/secure site training and click How do I get access to Secure site. The OEAA Secure site is used quite frequently throughout testing. Before testing, the Secure site is accessed to pre-identify students for state assessments, print barcode labels for paper answer documents, order materials. During testing, off-site test administration requests are completed in the Secure site, and incident reporting is also completed in the Secure site. After testing, the Secure site will be used for the Accountable Students and Test Verification window in June. To access student test scores, download data files, and to access the reports that are available in the Dynamic Score Reporting site. Barcode labels are required for all paper/pencil answer documents. You must have a student barcode label on each answer document. All paper/pencil answer documents must have a student barcode label. If pre-identified by the posted deadline, February 14th, their printed barcode labels will be provided by the vendor. After the deadline, labels must be printed from the OEAA secure site. Note: labels are required for all paper FI answer documents, not required for SI or P tests. New this year, barcode labels printed from the OEAA secure site must be printed on blank labels provided by the vendor. Blank labels cannot be purchased from an office supply store, for example, Avery brand. Blank label sheets will come with paper/pencil materials. If more blank label sheets are needed, order from the additional material order page of the OEAA secure site. Barcode labels are specific to content area will display on the labels. Ensure the correct label is placed on the correct content test answer document. Initial material orders, IMOs, were processed through the OEAA secure site and are based on your pre-identification counts. IMOs are sent to coordinators by default to the district unless designated to individual buildings in the district. Users who selected an alternate date for material deliveries will receive them either between March 24 through 26 or March 31 through April 2, 2025, based on your selection. IMO's accommodated materials are based on pre-ID as of February 14, 2025. Additional material orders are also processed through the secure site but are based on material selected by the user after the initial window has closed. The dates for the ordering windows are listed on the MyAccess Important Dates document found on the MyAccess webpage. While these dates may have passed for this year, they typically fall within the range of similar dates year to year. Please review the list of important dates on the webpage to confirm. The Initial Material Orders (IMO) screen permits users to search by test cycle and then select shipping destination and delivery dates. The first date listed is the default date and an alternate delivery date as well. The address listed is based on the address for the MyAccess coordinator in the Educational Entity Master (EM). Make sure you verify that this is correct so that your materials are sent to the correct place. IMOs are automatically generated based on your pre-identification count and you can view your order from this screen. Please check the list of important dates for the IMO window and delivery dates have already passed. You can still place material orders if you have any need for additional materials. The window for additional materials orders is listed here, April 3rd through May 20th. These dates are also listed in the important dates documents. When your materials arrive, be sure to make sure that you inventory all of your secure materials when you receive them. Use the packing slip that's included in your delivery to verify that everything listed on the packing slip is included in your order. All secure materials are required to be returned to the scoring contractor, such as accommodated versions of the test booklets, etc. If not returned, you will be required to locate the missing materials. We need to remedy all material discrepancies that at the time of delivery. Keep the returned material items in a prominent place for ease of access when returning materials. If you do your inventory and there are errors, send an email to mde-oeaa@michigan.gov so that the missing secure materials can be located. All secure materials must be retained in a secure, locked location within the school. This cannot be just in a locked office, like on the principal or assessment coordinator's desk, because it's possible that the office can be left unattended, and the materials are not secure. Distributing and collecting materials daily apply throughout the testing process, including during the planning stage. Secure materials for online testing are test rosters and test tickets, and any used scratch or graph paper. For paper/pencil testing, secure materials include test booklets, used answer documents, any accommodation version of the test, or audio flash drives, listening scripts. Make sure you review the Test Administration Manual, TAM, if you have any questions about what are secure materials. The DRC Insight portal is available for online test administration tasks after February 21, 2025. Students who were pre-identified in the OEAA secure site have been copied into the DRC Insight portal. Students can continue to be pre-identified in the OEAA secure site and will be copied into the DRC Insight portal 3 times a day. Test sessions will be created/managed in the DRC Insight portal exclusively. Students pre-identified after February 21st will need to be added to test sessions directly in the DRC Insight portal. This table shows who needs access and the associated secure site role for them to have the correct access. Technology coordinators must have access, and the secure site roles they should be assigned are listed here. Either district or school level access, and for school level access it is either public or non-public schools. District and building coordinators also must have access to work in the DRC Insight portal. They are sorted the same way as technology coordinators, either district or school level access, and the school access is separated into public and non-public schools. Test administrators only need access if they will be using the test monitoring application for FI. If you are not using the test monitoring application, there is no need for test administrators to have secure access. SI/PScore entry is an internet-based URL access to the online answer document, and does not use the DRC portal for score entry. Very briefly, I want to touch on the accommodations and supports for students. Decisions regarding the universal tools, designated supports, and accommodations needed for instruction and assessment for students with disabilities are made by the IEP team. Universal tools are available to all students and to be used as primarily student-driven as needed. Designated supports are available to individual students who have specific needs, and this is used primarily as educator-driven. Accommodations are available to students with disabilities whose needs are more specific and must be approved and documented in the IEP. Before testing, coordinators should facilitate a meeting with appropriate staff who will be involved in the student testing to review all the supports for the students that they are clearly defined and understood. Then you should assign all of the universal tools, designated supports, or accommodations in the DRC Insight portal. Once this is done, make sure that your test administrators are made aware of all supports and accommodations that students need in their test sessions. This is important because support or accommodation may be delivered through the online testing engine or during paper/pencil testing. Some schools use Google Sheets or other collaborative software to make sure that everyone's aware of what is needed. Again, you can use this process or another process, but the important thing is that all test administrators know every support and accommodation that each student should or should not have in each test session. Then, once everyone knows everything they need to know, you'll need to make sure they have access to all of the materials to provide the supports and accommodations. All supports and accommodations must be selected in the DRC Insight portal before printing test tickets and testing rosters for online administration. The following online supports will be available for all students testing functional independence, FI. DS text-to-speech with follow-along, TTS is default to on at login. DS color preferences. DS contrasting color. Calculator for applicable math items. The following online supports will be available by student and must be turned on in the DRC Insight portal before printing the student test ticket for My Access FI. UT Continuous Magnification 200 cm. DS Masking MSK. DS Scribe S. DRC provides a video training for assigning student supports and accommodations in the DRC mini-module library of trainings. Follow the link on the DRC welcome page to documents and training materials to access. Getting ready for the My Access FI administration can involve a great deal of training and planning ahead of time. In this section, we will cover the activities leading up to testing. As you prepare for testing, you will find the Assessment Coordinator Training Guide is set up to help you with activities before testing. This is a good reference and training tool to get started. There are 2 chapters covering who takes My Access and how to prepare for testing. Students need to be pre-identified for testing and must be identified based on assessment being taken, online or paper pencil, and content areas. Note, verify that My Access testers are unassigned from M-STEP and removed from any M-STEP sessions along with destroying any test tickets. Materials need to be ordered for any FI students taking paper pencil. Also, orders for the number of SI/P administrators. Note, the FI Expressing Ideas test must be administered by paper/pencil for all students taking ELA, online or paper/pencil. For students needing off-site testing, such as homebound, a request form must be completed. This can be filed on the OEAA secure site. Requests can be submitted for a whole school, an entire grade, or just a few students through the OEAA secure site. To help in preparing students to take the assessment, there are student tutorials on the DRC Insight portal, along with online tools training. The link for the online training tools resource can be found on the My Access page Assessment Training and Resources for Educators section or at the link provided. Also, just a note, the required browser is Chrome. There are several things to remember when preparing for the assessment administration. They are: determine who has access to DRC Insight portal and how online student test tickets will be printed and distributed. Show FI online students the assessment tutorials and give students opportunity to practice using the online tools training, OTTs. The testing environment for the student should consider the following. Only one test ticket is required, even though there are 2 parts to each online assessment. It does not matter which part is given first. Breaks are encouraged based on student needs. FI/ELA Expressing Ideas is a separate assessment, paper/pencil only for all students. Ensure students are getting all required supports and accommodations. Scribes, for paper or online navigation, must understand the scribe protocol found in the Supports and Accommodations Guidance document, page 47, located on the My Access webpage. Students are automatically registered/pre-identified in MSTEP and must be moved to My Access in the OEAA secure site by content area, online or paper/pencil, and test type, FI, SI, or P, according to IEP. Ensure students are removed from any active MSTEP sessions and those session test tickets destroyed. If not, this could lead to confusion in students being tested in both My Access and MSTEP unnecessarily. Students pre-identified for paper version of FI test before February 14 will have student labels shipped with initial material orders. Pre-ID student labels may be printed from the OEAA secure site as needed. Schools may continue to pre-identify students on the OEAA secure site, which will be uploaded to the DRC Insight portal 3 times a day. All students taking My Access must be flagged as Special EDIC and MSDS. Inventory all materials upon arrival for accuracy before distributing. Review or place test material orders in the secure site for paper-pencil testing. Be sure to follow all security procedures for testing materials when not being used for either assessment preparation and/or administering the test. Ensure student barcode labels are correct and affixed to the FI answer document. Barcodes are content-specific for students. Students pre-identified in the secure site will be uploaded to DRC Insight portal 3 times a day. Enter all accommodations for students in the DRC portal prior to printing test tickets. The test tickets/rosters generated will then display the accommodations and supports needed for the student. DRC portal opened February 21 to create and manage all online test sessions. It is important that students are aware of how the items on the test work, and the tools that are available to them before testing day. This ensures that students can focus on the content, and not the testing engine, on testing day. There are student tutorials and online tools training, or OTTs, that should be used. You can launch Insight, and the tutorials are the yellow link at the bottom, and you can see the OTTs listed under each assessment logo. You can also access them from the My Access webpage, as long as you use a Chrome browser. Go to the Parent/Student Information section and select the link My Access FI Online Tools Training. The page that opens has a link to the OTTs on the top portion of the page. The My Access FI tutorial will help the building coordinators and assessment administrators as well as students using the software and tools to navigate the testing environment. The tutorials also show students how to navigate, sign in, pause, hit exit, and submit a test. These tutorials are essential to successful participation in the FI online assessment. DRC also provides online tools training, OTTs. The OTT is a practice test for the students to become familiar with online testing. This allows students to try out the features of the testing environment. The OTTs are sets of sample test questions intended to introduce students to the tools available during testing and prepare them for online testing. This training allows students to try the features of the testing software before the actual test. OTTs are not scored. The goal is to provide practice using the tools available in the testing application, not to assess content area knowledge. To access the OTTs, use a Chrome browser and navigate to the link below. You may also open the DRC Insight testing engine and select the online tools training link. There is also a mini module that you can view to help you with the OTTs and how to access them. The math tests have an embedded calculator for some of the items. The test engine uses the online Desmos calculator. This calculator can also be found in the OTTs for practice purposes. Further information about the Desmos calculators can be found at www.desmos.com. DRC Insight is the name of the online testing engine. It is a secure web browser for Windows and Mac devices. This platform is a secure web browser designed to prevent students from accessing any other programs once it is launched. Apps are used on iPads. Kiosk mode must be used for Chromebooks. DRC Insight provides access to the test sign-in. The enhanced student experience provides a clean, streamlined look for students and complies with ADA guidelines. The enhanced student experience features header icons. This is different than prior years, which had both header and footer commands. This slide shows side by side the previous version of Insight and the updates with the enhanced student experience. You'll notice some of the navigation buttons and tools have moved from the bottom of the screen to the top. Just a reminder here to make sure you are using the student tutorials and OTTs with students this year, regardless of the grade. We want to make sure students are focused on the content of the test and not the testing engine when it's time to test. The assessment systems used MyAccess includes the following for Spring 2025. Educational Entity Master is a directory that identifies testing and technology coordinators and the district-owned physical address where materials will be shipped. Central Office Service, COS, is designed for local content hosting including and strongly recommended to ensure a secure and equitable testing environment. Testing content can be delivered to the student and local caching to capture all student responses. OEAA Secure Site is it required for the pre-identification of students. Ordering paper testing materials. Off-site testing requests. Submitting incident reports. Accountable students and test verification activities. Accessing downloadable data files and student/aggregate reports. DRC Insight Portal is required for test session setup. Assigning supports and accommodation. Printing test tickets and rosters. DRC Insight testing environment for FI student facing with administrator assistance. Monitoring online testing completion. Test session monitoring application. Mini modules and documentation. Accessing files to download the DRC Insight testing app. Entering SI/P scores online. Now we move into the area of test administration and the activities surrounding the day of testing. The Assessment Coordinator Training Guide is set up to guide you through the tasks and activities during the test administration. The guide also provides information to review preliminary reports available during the testing window. This is a good reference and training tool for staff. The FI assessment has both paper and pencil as well as online features as noted in this flowchart. Assessments may be completed in paper pencil, left column of chart, or online, right column. Per the IEP instructions, the student marks the paper pencil test booklet with their responses and the administrator transfers those responses to the answer document for the student. Online students will interact directly with the test in the online test engine since the ELA, expressing ideas must be completed with paper for all ELA students. It is important to remember to not only administer but to return the Expressing Ideas test for scoring as noted by the red arrow in the flowchart. The Expressing Ideas test is required to receive an overall valid ELA score. Assessment administrators are requested to log in for the student. The blue screen below shows the required fields for username and password. Administrators must be prepared to assist the students, including with any technology interferences. Important details to know about the online assessment. Assessment administrators should log into the assessment for the student as mentioned. The audio will automatically begin to read from this point. Headphones are required, unless in a one-on-one administration. Review the test ticket to confirm if any listed accommodations are actively available. Once they click the next button, they're going to enter the first part of the assessment, which is a review of the tools required to take the assessment, such as the pointer tool, the highlighter, the magnifier, calculator for the math assessments, and so forth. Please note, this is just a review. This is not an in-depth instruction on how to use each of the tools. For the in-depth instruction on how to use each tool, please rely on the Online Tools Training Program. Note, The test directions are required listening on the initial login only. After the tools review, the student will read/hear instructions and click the Begin the Test button. This will take the student to the first question in the test. For the paper-pencil functional independence administration, ensure that students are marking answers in the test booklet only. Check the student's name, teacher name, and school name to make sure it is accurate and complete on the booklet cover. Listening scripts will be provided for ELA. Accessing print tests, these will be read to the student by the test administrator. Administrators transfer all their responses onto the paper answer document. Check to make sure the answer document has a student label, and all sections of the front cover are completed accurately. Securely store all assessment materials after testing or return all materials to the coordinator promptly. Here are some reminders and additional administration tips. Students must be enrolled as special education, say, in MSDS. The FIELA Expressing Ideas assessment is paper only and required even if student is online testing. The functional independence answer document is completed by test administrators. Accommodated versions must be documented in IEP and typically part of a student's daily instruction. Bubbles filled in on the answer document should be completed with a number 2 pencil. Read manuals on the MyAccess webpage. Check accountable students and verification screen to confirm OEAA has received all answer documents. Watch the weekly Spotlight newsletter for additional details. Preliminary reports are available in 48 hours of online testing submission by content area. When all the testing administrations are complete, there are some critical steps to returning and wrapping up all of the post-administration activities. We will cover those now for the online and for the paper-pencil testing. The Assessment Coordinator Training Guide is set up to guide you through the tasks and activities post-administration of the testing. These chapters of the guide also provides information on reporting and data files of student results. For the Functional Independence Assessment, it is important to review the summary screen by selecting Review/End Test. We recommend that the administrator help navigate for the student to complete the testing. Administrators should encourage the students to complete their work if any questions are unanswered. We also recommend that the test administrators complete the process for ending the test and submitting the test for the student. The FI Test Administration Manual, TAM, provides a material return section that includes material handling table showing the items to be returned, retained, and destroyed by schools. It also includes the time frames for retaining or returning items. The QR code will take you to the web page where the manuals are posted. Note, there are several changes to material returns in spring 2025, including the use of Do Not Score labels, applied to answer documents that the school has invalidated. Returning FI answer documents in provided plastic bags. No specific packing/sorting order required for returning materials. The special handling envelope has been discontinued for returning materials, and unique barcode labels for each student by content area. The last day to ship materials is May 28, 2025. Use testing material that arrives past the scoring deadline will not be scored. Be sure to review the materials return section of the Test Administration Manual. Instructions for returning materials to DRC. Materials that must be returned to DRC do not need to be separated into scorable and non-scorable boxes. Use the same boxes in which materials arrived. Use the initial material shipping list to take an inventory and ensuring that all secure materials are accounted for. Use the provided clear plastic bags to store secure answer documents within the boxes being returned. Zip ties are also provided to close each bag. Remove or black out any old shipping labels on boxes, including the original shipping label, and seal the boxes with plastic shipping tape. Note, destroy any shipping labels from previous administrations. Affix a yellow DRC return shipping label to the top of each box being returned to DRC. Affix the provided UPSRS labels to each box of materials being returned to DRC. Do not return the security compliance forms. Every box in a return shipment needs an UPSRS label applied. If additional UPSRS labels are needed, order them on the Additional Materials Order page in the OEAA. Secure Site. In this closing slide, we provide our contact information. Thank you for taking the time to review this training presentation. You may reach the Office of Educational Assessment and Accountability at mde-oea@michigan.gov. Questions may also be sent directly to our office at the help desk 877-560-8378. For weekly updates from the OEAA, please subscribe to our weekly newsletter, Spotlight on Student Assessment and Accountability. This provides timely articles, announcements, important dates, and deadlines that are approaching. A link to the Spotlight is also found on the My Access webpage.